I want to say that this is a bit of a kind of an autobiography, memoir type thing. But either way, these are questions to find his perfect soulmate. What he would ask girls during their dates.
Lame.
Well, so I want to see what your answer is going to be. I'll just read you one. Let us assume a fully grown, completely healthy Clydesdale horse has his hooves shackled to the ground while his head is held in place.
A fucking
with
what?
Clydesdale. You know,
is that one of the big ones?
Yeah, the Budweiser horse.
Big boys?
Yeah.
All right.
His hooves shackled to the ground while his head is held in place with thick rope. He is conscious and standing upright, but completely immobile. And let us assume that, for some reason, every political prisoner on Earth, as cited by Amnesty International, will be released from captivity if you can kick this horse to death in less than 20 minutes. You are allowed to wear steel-toed boots. Would you attempt to do this?
I would kick whoever asked me that question to death in 20 minutes.
Do you think you could do it?
Okay, I don't...
I mean, you know what? It's big, though. I've thought about it where I'm like, maybe if I get its ribs and its heart or something, but that's 20 minutes? I don't know.
I mean, more than likely, you just end up making an ass of yourself trying. Then you just be guy who just beat on a horse no fucking reason, and then a bunch of people.
I always felt that way about people saying that they had a time machine. I'm going to go back in time. I'm going to kill Hitler when he's a baby. But then you erase history, and you're known as the guy that we gave the power to go back in time to, and you immediately killed the baby. Like, that's not cool.
We'd have to document it.
Yeah, but you could just be the crazy guy that we accidentally put in our multi-billion-dollar machine to send him back in time. I mean, we've gotten astronauts trained that, like, remember went cross-country in a fucking diaper to go kill her nemesis or whatever. You remember that?
What?
Oh, so this guy was dating an astronaut. He was also dating another girl. Why the fuck is the beginning of this
one just, like, bonkers? What is... You are all over the place, buddy.
See what I mean, though? It's given us something to talk about. But basically
you have like a whole fucking sheet of stuff over there. Now you're just asking me about beating horses and killing babies.
Do you want to?
No!
But no, basically this guy I think he was screwing around with one of his girls. Well, he's got a side girl and everything, and one of them was an astronaut, and she went cross-country, and to save time, she wore Depends, and with the full intent of kidnapping this other woman.
You know what? You know what? I bet she just needed the Depends, and then she just had that as a cover. And just...
No longer
going
will
cross
I be
country
known.
with my Depends on that is just for efficiency that I don't need because I don't shit my pants every single time I run. Have you ever had that? Of course you haven't had that happen.
What, shit in my pants while I run?
You don't know that's a thing?
Do I look like I run?
That's a thing.
Oh, I know it's a thing.
That nobody tells you about until you're like fucking halfway through your run. There's no fucking bathroom in sight. And then all of a sudden you have to shit harder than you've ever shit in your entire fucking life.
To be fair, you have IBS, so I feel like that's something like, nobody ever told you that when you're walking upstairs, you'd shit when you're halfway up them. Like, yeah, no, that's a you thing.
Well, yeah, but like, this is an everybody thing. Apparently it's from like being dehydrated. And that's why you see like pictures of like fucking diarrhea running down like marathon runners' legs. Can you imagine the shit chafe?
Oh man, it's gotta be bad. It's super bad. You know what I feel like is worse though is just when you're like, you know, you're walking around and of course it's always on a good summer day and you feel that your butt cheeks glide, like astro glide, and it's like, I gotta go back for a rewipe.
Glide? Oh yeah. Gross, brother. Brother, just check the TP.
Let's get started, shall we?
Fuck you, man.
See? How much time did that kill?
I don't know. Do we need to kill
4 minutes? 5 minutes? That's good. See? Look at that. Naturals. Fucking naturals.
You know what would have been natural?
Not talking about it?
Yeah.
Walter Michael Miller Jr. was born January 23rd, 1923 in New Smyrna Beach, Florida.
Okay.
He was the only child to Ruth and Walter Sr. Besides his father working for a railroad company, that's unfortunately just about all we know about Walter Miller Jr. until he hits college. As we're going to find out, Miller was an extremely reclusive man.
It's probably for the best.
I don't want to know anything about you.
It'd be super sick if, like, we just didn't know anything about anyone until after they hit.
Till they did something important.
No, just no record of anything that happened to you before you were like 22.
Yeah, I unfortunately know way too much about my coworkers. Like, good morning, good morning. So there I was. Oh, fuck. Like, I gotta go clock in.
Yeah, y'all are bored. You're in an office.
Yeah. Never really doing interviews, and as far as I could find out, Miller just... He never really made... Oh yeah. Get your throat in there. You got it? That's what you get for tapping on it. Did it help?
We're good.
Okay, so Walter Miller Jr., he never really does any interviews. As far as I could find out, he certainly was not making much of a public appearance either. He wouldn't, go out and do signings or anything like that. What we do know is just 1 month after the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, Walter Miller left the University of Tennessee to enlist at the age of 18, right before his 19th birthday, into the Air Force, or as we would know it then, the Army Air Corps. While he was originally assigned as a radio man, he quickly became a tail gunner for a B-25 bomber.
That's quite the jump. I mean, I don't know how that works, but it's
I mean, I'm sure at the time it was just like, hey, we do need a guy to man the radio inside the bomber. And then after a while, they're just taking him into the cockpit, just come here, little Willie. You ever fly a plane?
Look, if you can operate that radio, this will be easy. The last guy died, but all you have to do is pull these. You got this.
Yeah. So, I mean, he becomes a tail gunner. He ends up running 53 bombing missions over Italy. Between January 17th and May 18th, 1944, Walter Miller would take part in the bombings of Monte Cassino. Although the attacks the Allies made ultimately succeeded in their goal to open a pathway to Rome, it was a colossal blunder in every way. You see, Monte Cassino rests on top of a hill. We wanted that hill. It was the best way to get us up and over the mountain range. Monte Cassino at the time consisted of ancient stone-built walls that were hiding an unknown number of enemies. So our first attack consisted of some dickhole thinking the best option was to just attack at night. Problem being that our soldiers couldn't see where the fuck the mines and tripwires were.
They wouldn't be able to see us coming. Awesome. Halfway through, they're like, I also can't see anything going on.
And the problem was that the Nazis actually laid down tripwires and mines. So we're just getting blown up in the fucking
Wouldn't that be awesome? This will work really great if they do something stupid like attack us at night.
I mean, really, I feel like that's the number one thing from Sun Tzu's Art of War is just instead of thinking what you would do, think what they would do, and then defend against that. Duh. But the problem here, though, was so we're getting blown up at the bottom of this valley, and the Nazis can see where we are due to the explosions happening, where the explosions are happening down at this valley. So they're just machine gunning everyone that they can. Practically everyone's getting wiped out. This first wave of attacks lasted 48 hours. So rather than seeing, hey, we fucked up, maybe we ought to pull back and reconsider, we just kept going at it for 48 hours.
And man, I think maybe we should just get out of here. Well, I can't reach anybody higher up, and this is the last thing they told us. So we're gonna go.
That's kind of unfortunately true. Not necessarily in this case, but that is how the fucking military works.
Last I heard, we're going up the hill.
I've got a great idea. Hey, Johnny, that's real nice, but unfortunately, you don't rank high enough to think on your own. You're not allowed to have independent thought. We're running into the mine. Go.
Okay, I'll hear you out. Wait, I'll stop you right there. Is it leaving here? Because you can't tell me leaving here. Do you have any idea? No? Okay.
Right. As far as we know, no Nazis were actually killed in these first 48 hours, but we lost 2,000 men in those 2 days.
Oh, fuck.
The amount of wounded was so bad, it took about 10 hours before the medic could see you. If you just fucking sprained your ankle or something, great, but it's going to be a long fucking time. You're losing
an even longer time if you just sprained your fucking ankle.
Yeah, probably, but I would be crying about it. I got a fucking
I jammed my finger real bad.
My toe has been stubbed. My day is ruined. So next, we decided we would flank the Nazis' position. There wouldn't be any booby traps in this waterlogged valley over there, pretty much like a fucking swamp. We'll just go through that.
I mean, why wouldn't there be?
It's messy. It's hard to get through.
I've never done this thing before in my life, so I have
no but you've seen Never-Ending Story. You remember the Swamp of Sadness?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that's basically what they were like. There wouldn't be booby traps there because it's a bitch to get through. It's too fucking muddy, So if we go through that, up some mountains, boom, we're in Monte Cassino. Done. So they sent a bunch of troops miles down the way to go through this valley where they had to move super slow because the mud was sucking in every step. And wouldn't you know it, no booby traps, but a bunch of Nazis were firing on them from the hilltops thinking, yeah, this valley would probably be the logical next step. Why don't we go see if the Allies are there? And
fucking swamp level.
Yeah. And we got picked apart, but wouldn't you know it, we got through that swampland. And once we got through the swamp, we just had 7 miles of mountain terrain to walk through.
That sounds like an awful idea, because if for some reason you have to get the fuck out of there, like, you're not going to. It's just swamp.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, if there was no turning
like,
back in the fucking... Yeah, if there's no turning back from that fucking valley, I feel like there isn't really much turning back in the swamp either. Like, this is just as bad. Like, at least there's no mines. So yeah, once you get through the swamp, 7 miles of mountain terrain to get to Monte Cassino. But here's the thing, it's solid ground again. So this mountain range is booby-trapped. And there were no trails leading to Monte Cassino from there. The whole time, the guys are running into random nests of Nazis here and there. They had no shelter. It was snowing.
Nazi nests.
These guys... It was snowing. These guys ended up just a team of Rambos in these fucking mountains. They, like, quickly had to split up and, like, just had to make it on their fucking own. Eventually, they captured a railway station 1 mile from Monte Cassino. They were like, yay, we did it! They had endured around 2,200 losses, about 80% of the people they started out with just on this second attack alone. And the route they took through the mountains is now known as Death Valley. People to this day still find the bodies of soldiers in those mountains.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a hazardous terrain. People aren't walking out there unless you're kind of into bouldering and shit. When we were first
arrived... sucks.
Right? I bet you find some cool stuff, though.
Jeez, man, like...
But the problem is, I'm sure that they're also running into fucking booby traps, too, though. Like... Here and there, I'm sure.
Yeah,
we didn't let them all off.
Yeah, don't fucking go in there.
Yeah.
Bad spot.
Why won't you go into Death Valley? There's not a tea shop at the end.
Dude.
When we were first arriving at Monte Cassino, the Allies told their commanders taking the whole town wouldn't be an issue. Now they were reporting that success would be a 50-50 shot. Now, the biggest issue to a lot of these guys in charge was Monte Cassino is an ancient city. Within it was the Benedictine Abbey, built in the year 529, making it the oldest Christian monastery in the world, and the place where St. Benedict was laid to rest.
Well, too bad it's full of Nazis, boys.
To a lot of people in the Allied unit, bombing Monte Cassino would be like committing sacrilege. Like... We've all seen World War II movies. There's at least a few, like, Catholic guys that go in there and, like, you know, do the Santa Maria 1, 2, 3 before, like, sniping a fucking guy, you know?
The shit just cracks me up, because it's like, oh no, we wouldn't want to commit sacrilege, and they'd literally just, like...
They just gone through... Lit up families.
Like there has been, like, so much death, and they're like, I don't know, man. I don't know if God would like that. Like...
Yeah, I know I shot him in the fucking foot just to see him hobble, but you know what? But when the higher-ups heard about all the losses we took, they ordered a reconnaissance plane to fly over and see just how many Nazis we were talking about here that were going to be in the fucking in this fucking abbey. When two high-ranking officials flew over the Benedictine Abbey, they said they saw a radio mast, machine gun nests, and Nazi uniforms hanging up on a clothesline to dry in the Abbey courtyard. But one of the generals in charge of the operation, who was, like, actually on the ground, like, these were higher-ups probably flying from, like, over cities and shit, and we're just like, yep, saw it. And, like, one of the guys on the ground, he just said bullshit and started countering his superior's claims. He hopped in a plane, and he flew multiple times over the Abbey at his own risk, later saying, they've been looking so long, they're seeing things. To dispute this, a major general for the Indian Army, because multiple national armies are here wanting Monte Cassino to fall. This guy finds a book from fucking 1879 that talks about the construction of the Abbey. He's like, look, these walls are stupid thick and there's tons of fucking space in here. The Nazis would have been crazy not to be stationed here. So he just like flipped out fucking scrolls of like blueprints and was just like, I mean, I would, you know, like I'd be here. So there's tons of infighting going on between higher-ups from multiple different Allied countries about whether or not to bomb the building. When we finally get orders to bomb the Abbey, The guy in charge, who flew over the courtyard multiple times and saw nothing, speaks directly to the commander-in-chief of the Allied armies in Italy and says, "You give me a direct order and we'll do it." He knew it wasn't as bad as they were saying it was. He knew it was just incompetent leadership, and he wanted to save his ass from the repercussions. And I think he was right to do so. So he was given the direct order.
So they bombed it?
On the morning of February 15th, 1944, 229 Allied bombers laid siege to Monte Cassino. Feels like a bit of overkill. 229? Like, holy fuck. That's a lot. One of the people...
We're going to make sure there's no evidence of what we did here. That's not how that... No evidence.
Didn't this used to be a hill? Yeah, it's a lake now.
No. This wasn't the place. That was up on a hill, remember? There's no hill here. You've gotten lost. It's somewhere else.
You're misremembering. One of the people in one of the bombers was Walter Miller. The Benedictine Abbey was completely laid to ruin. That afternoon, we bombed the town again, and then again the next morning. When we sent out a team to investigate what was left, we found the corpses of 230 civilians. They were what remained of the town, specifically fleeing to the Abbey, because just like the Major General of the Indian Army said, it was the most likely thing to survive the bombing. Guess how many Nazi corpses we found? 0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had already left.
Oh no.
In fact, there was no evidence the Nazis had ever even occupied the Abbey in the first place. It's entirely possible that they didn't occupy it simply out of respect.
Okay, to be fair, what are the chances that Nazis would do that? I mean, come on.
Because they're Italian Nazis.
Oh, yeah.
They're all Catholic. I mean, I don't actually know, but we didn't actually find any evidence. There were no old plans in there. There was nothing. Like, there was literally not a fucking Nazi shoelace that we could find amongst the rubble. Just civilians. It was the rest of the town.
Great. Fan-fucking-tastic.
So...
I mean, really, they couldn't have... I mean, if they were gone by the time they're in there, like, you don't think they would have, like, maybe just, like...
What?
Sent some kind of message, like, hey, no, there's no people in here. There's no soldiers in here anymore. Like,
oh, like the Nazis would have told us or something?
No, like the people in the fucking Abbey.
Oh, Abbey? No, they were terrified of just war in general. They didn't care who was... All that they knew was they were being attacked. And, yeah... Because that's not to say that the Nazis didn't loot the Abbey, though. The Nazis actually stole most of the treasure the Abbey had on display and gave them to Joseph Goebbels as a birthday present.
Look, we're not going to occupy this because we're being respectful.
But we're going to take your shit.
But I'm going to need to fill this sack.
Yeah, around 40 people actually survived the bombing. 6 of them were monks. As soon as there was a break in the bombing, the monks led the townspeople away from the wreckage while reciting the rosary and led them to the Nazis for help. When Pope Pius XII heard of the attack, he was stunned into silence. There was actually there was an account of this, of basically like the Nazis were miles away from Monte Cassino at this point. But, you know, they're just hauling all this gold like, boy, it's a good thing that we didn't, you know, fucking destroy the Abbey. Guess we're the good guys after all, you know, and like they're just setting up a checkpoint or whatever.
Yeah.
And this monk comes up leading
That's some
people.
Dirty ass Nazi shit.
They're leading people to the checkpoint, the monks. And the people though, they're all completely covered in white. It's like blasted limestone and everything. They're just like, and the 2 Nazis that were at this checkpoint were like scared. Like shitless. They saw these ghost-like white figures coming towards them, and they're just like, holy shit! And like, because they knew that there were bombings or whatever, and I mean, they're just, I mean, they're Nazis. Of course, they're, you know, not suspicious. What am I looking for?
Dumb.
Super suspicious.
Super fuck. I'm drawing a blank too, brother.
Super tramp. And so, like...
Yeah, because they're both Nazis and they're super tramp. We'll roll with that.
So the monk comes up to them and, you know, they're like, oh, shit, these are all just, like, bleeding and dying people. And the monk's just, like, take care of these people. And I gotta go back for more. And he's just never seen again. So, like... Oh, that's not to say, by the way, Once the bombing was done and everything, people started scattering to the hills. And since we didn't have anything better to do, most of the armies just kind of scattered and started playing hunter with the remaining civilians out in the mountains just for funsies. So,
wait, like Allied forces?
Yeah.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
People talk about how, like, out in Japan, they talk about how they bombed Pearl Harbor because of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Man, they're really brainwashed over there with their World War II history. And it's like, we never talk about how the Allied forces were after Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the shit we did to people when we went. Like, massive, like, we were just as fucking bad. We were horrible. Of course, you've got a bunch of rowdy soldiers. Like, yeah, it was horrible. Anyway.
Yeah, man, war's never good, but let's not, in practice, yeah, no, is that fucking good? No, it's fucking horrific, but let's not...
I'm not saying...
We weren't gathering a bunch of fucking, minority groups together in our country and then frying them at the time.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that we're as bad as Nazis. What I'm saying is we were doing the same war crimes as the Japanese were.
don't sugarcoat it. Like,
No, but we were chopping off civilian heads and shit and just doing massive amounts of pillaging.
Yeah,
but
like, horrific. As bad as Germany? No.
No. God, no. No.
But about on the same level as everyone else? Yes.
Like, we were doing some pretty horrific fucking things. Mm-hmm. Overall, there were about 55,000 Allied casualties, compared to what we think was probably around 20,000 Nazi ones in this Battle of Monte Cassino alone. So as mentioned before, Walter Miller took part in the bombing of the Benedictine Abbey, and he ended up with a pretty good helping of PTSD because of it. Although staunchly an atheist in college, it was after the war that Miller converted to Catholicism. You don't hear about that too much. He married a woman named Anna in 1945, and somewhere along the line had 4 kids with her. Walter Michael Miller III on September 11th, 1947, Margaret Jean June on June 4th, 1946, Catherine Augusta on September 27th, 1949, and Alice Elaine on November 9th, 1951. And we know nothing about them. We're going right back to the fact that we just don't know a whole lot about Walter or his life. What we do know is that he worked on a TV show called Captain Video on 1953, alongside some of the greatest sci-fi...
That was quite the shift.
I mean... Look, all that we know is that he's got PTSD. What are you going to do about it? Like...
He's involved in war crimes, and now we're at Captain Video, everybody. Let's go.
To be fair, I mean, where do you go after, like, your discharge from the army? You just had a horrible time there. It was not as fun as they said it would be. And all of a sudden, you're just like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, I guess I'm going back to the grocery store. Like, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, he was just a...
It's going to be like Call of Duty, right? Call it what? Never mind.
He cut out college to join the army. Like, Pearl Harbor very much affected him, and he was completely, into the idea of going to do something that he figured would matter. And I mean, it mattered, just not quite in the way I think he was hoping. But like, after that, it's like he doesn't have a college degree. I don't know if he ever really completed college or anything like that. He just fucking... The one thing that he loved, though, was sci-fi magazines and shit like that. So he just, fuck it. He started working for a TV show called Captain Video. Why not?
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. And he's alongside some of the greatest sci-fi writers of the 50s and 60s, like Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke, iRobot, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. There you go.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Huh. Isaac Asimov did iRobot, has nothing to do with Will Smith. Mm-hmm. They only took the name of the book. Arthur C. Clarke did 2001. Yeah. Anyway. Mm-hmm. I figured those might be the 2 things that you would recognize, so it was a good call. Besides that, Miller wrote stories for various science fiction magazines between 1951 and 1957. most of all of his stories kind of dealt with the aftermath of the end of the world, people having a loss of scientific knowledge because we went and killed the world. Some real post-apocalyptic shit, and obviously inspired by the aftermath Walter saw after the Battle of Monte Cassino.
So is he one of the first people who kind of like started publishing more for that genre, like the post-apocalyptic?
Oh, the dystopian then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'll get into that in a bit, but before this, dystopians were mostly like, you know, utopia's gone wrong. Gone awry, like George Orwell's 1984, basically. Like the real dystopias that we've gone too conglomerate or whatever. He started the Mad Max genre, is essentially what he did. Like,
so he went straight studded leather.
Yes, yeah, very much
hell
so.
Yeah.
That's all Walter Miller territory. Now,
just walk away.
And he is a terrific writer, and as much as we should celebrate his Hugo Award-winning 1955 short story, The Darfsteller, that's not what we're here to.
Darfsteller?
The Darfsteller. I never read it, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm already stoked.
It has something to do with an actor in space. I don't know. But anyways, that's not why we're here today. Motherfucker, we're here to talk about the 1955 Hugo Award-winning short story, A Canticle for Leibowitz.
What?
A Canticle for Leibowitz.
What is a canticle? Prepare yourself. What is both of those? All right,
you know,
busted out a canticle.
Canticle.
Are they like little made up words? Like
no, Leibowitz. All right, so canticle. Okay, I thought this is what it was, but I didn't want to be wrong.
All right,
it's basically just a biblical song. It's just like it's a little prayer chant kind of thing. Hallelujah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
Leibowitz is a character.
Plays? Oh.
No.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
So this is a canticle for Leibowitz. Walter Miller originally wrote it as a short story, publishing it in the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction in April of 1955. And if the name of the magazine sounds stupid, it's because the magazine was very grown up and only published hard science fiction for adults. Do you remember hard science fiction from Lovecraft? It was that whole thing where he was returning to the genre of like sci-fi needs to be explainable. And this is like, there's an actual scientific element behind it. He did the whole thing with Mountains of Madness and why it's so fucking dry.
Yeah,
Because he's talking about dirt for 20 pages. Yeah.
It needs to be explainable. I need to demonstrate how much I don't understand this. Like,
it's indescribable. Well, for anybody who may have skipped over the Lovecraft episodes, basically...
I doubt anyone did.
No one listened, so that's
exactly.
fine.
Yeah.
But for the future, when we've hit the big time, if you happen to go over the Lovecraft episodes, basically what it is when science fiction first became new through Jules Verne writing The Mysterious Island and fucking 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Oh, shit. Whoops.
Whoa.
I got angry. I'm sorry.
Jordan, Christ. Put that monster away back into your pants.
My leg? Basically, Jules Verne wanted to explain science fiction, and it worked. Like when the first submarines were being built and everything, they actually used the models that Jules Verne had provided for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, like how things would work. He explained all of it, and so fuck it, it worked. It's great. Eventually H.G. Wells just made it a lot more accessible to people, because whereas Jules Verne was like, it must be about science, and like made it really fucking boring, H.G. Wells was like, what if it's not though? Like, what if we just have the aliens show up and we don't need to explain it? And, you know, people were fine with that.
What if we have fun?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and, H.P. Lovecraft kind of brought that back, where he felt like too many people just were not explaining things, and it was just becoming a bit ridiculous, which is interesting coming from him, that, you know, he was tired of people not explaining things and just having things be. That's his entire mythology. So, anyway.
Yeah, we're not talking about him, goddammit.
No. You know, he had a dog, too.
Shut up.
No.
I don't. No. Christ. What are you doing? If this guy's so boring we have to talk about the old episode, why'd you write it up? Like, Christ, man.
So anyway, Miller wrote a follow-up to A Canticle for Leibowitz called And the Light Has Risen, published in August of 1956, and then finally The Last Canticle in February 1957. It was only in the middle of the third chapter that Walter realized he'd essentially written a whole book. So he compiled the parts together, did a lot of editing, expanded on some conversations, added characters, and in 1960, J.B. Lippincott and Company, the precursor to HarperCollins, released A Canticle for Leibowitz in its novel form. So, let's get into it.
Okay, yeah. I was about to ask you, what the fuck is it even about? Like...
And we won't talk about it at all.
Because it just sounds religious, but you told me that it was like a weird post-apocalyptic Mad Max thing. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah, it's a great book. You should read it.
Really? Right. Oh, okay.
Anyway,
yeah, go. Sorry.
No. Yeah, no, let's not talk about it. All right, so quote, Brother Francis Gerard of Utah might never have discovered the blessed documents had it not been for the pilgrim with girded loins, who appeared during that young novice's Lenten fast in the desert.
With what?
Girded loins.
What's a girded loin, brother?
Let me show you.
Brother, no. Paint me a picture with your words, brother.
You ever see fucking samurai movies where they've got the fucking diaper-looking things around their crotch and shit?
That's a girded loin?
Yeah, basically.
Well,
it's your loincloth that you pretty much went from skirt form to, diaper form.
I mean,
that's all that it really is.
That's a lot better than just the dangling cloth, for sure. Like, way less of a chance of a ball slipping.
Well,
nobody wants to see that.
We have the same ideas here, but you're on the different end of the point that I'm at. Like, you don't want a ball to slip. I understand that it might be good against bed bugs or something.
No. Nobody wants to see surprise male genitalia. That's always frightening. It's always frightening.
What do you mean? I send it to everyone I know. I'm always dick picking grandma.
Well, fuck you then, man. Nobody wants to see that shit. Okay, now if you walk a corner and you see a flaccid cock, that's one thing. That's funny. It's like, fuck. Whatever. You walk around the fucking corner and you see the fucking boner, that's aggressive. That's frightening. That is a message of intent.
Maybe I'm scared.
Dude, maybe that's what gets you off, but that's also troubling. What did I get into?
That's my attack boner. It's the fight or fuck response.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Boners are frightening. Flaccid penises are funny in the surprise spectrum.
They're still scary.
And dick pic wise, don't send dick pics ever.
What if it's flaccid?
No one likes dick. No one likes them.
My flaccid dick pics.
No one likes dick pics. Don't send dick pics.
Quality content.
All cocks are weird. Nobody wants to see it. The women that you're sleeping with or the men that you're sleeping with, it's just a cock.
They're putting up with it.
And it's fine.
They're putting up with it.
But nobody wants to be like, oh yeah, a picture of just a cock. That's great. Awesome.
Boy, this really gets me off. This really gets it going.
Love it.
Just, there it is.
I don't know. Like,
no, it's true. Like, it's not sexy. It really isn't.
I can't, like...
There's no reason to do it. Like, I don't know. There's no fucking point in sending somebody a dick pic. It's just not sexy.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I can't speak, like, I'm not gay, so I don't know if that's fun, if you are, but from what I've heard from women, as a straight dude, they're just like, no, dude, no, never send that. We don't want to see it. It's just fucking weird. Like...
I can't. Presentation matters. That's all I'm gonna say. Presentation matters.
I just
put a fucking filter.
You like in the kitchen, like you've plopped it on like a nice little plate, like a nice little artsy plate. You have some like little
put some fucking mustard across it. Like...
some. You put some mustard across it, little garnishes on the side, like
a little dollop of cream on the side, just creme fraiche.
Presentation matters. You're like, no, but you haven't seen my dick pics. Sorry. This isn't just a quick smack where I pulled it out a couple times to get some juice in before I hit the picture. Like,
no, man, I'm putting on filters. I'm doing that beauty filter thing where you kind of make it look a little like it's got that. It's using Korean beauty products, Just it's a really nice looking cock.
I put little anime eyes on it.
Oh, it's blushing.
What the fuck were we even talking about before that?
Don't ever ask me what girded loins are again.
Fuck.
So
yeah, it's a wrap, right?
Yeah.
Sick.
Just think of a euro. Brother Francis is a novice monk from the Leibowitz Abbey sometime in the far distant future. He sits alone in the desert, trying to meditate away his hunger pains as he's fasting for Lent. He prays to cure himself of his pain. But he does not pray to Beatus Leibowitz. Beatus, by the way, is like this in-between status for a Catholic figure who has been blessed, but he's not yet like canonized into sainthood. They're kind of in that middle ground. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like what happens after Mother Teresa died and they're like, is she going to be a saint yet? We don't know. She is blessed. And so she was like the Beatus Teresa, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as Brother Francis sits alone, he sees a figure coming toward him from over the horizon. Thinking it a mutant, he hides behind a stone, only to find that the figure is a normal-looking old man mumbling to himself. Brother Francis introduces himself, and the old man takes out a bundle of bread and cheese, offering some to the monk. Thinking the old man is a demon trying to break his fast and doom him to hell, Brother Francis throws holy water on the old man, so the old man, quote, made gargling sounds, turned a bright shade of red, and lunged at Francis with a blood-curdling yell. The novice kept tripping on his tunic.
Dude, this is sick as fuck.
The novice kept tripping on his tunic as he fled from flailing of the pilgrim's spiked staff, and he escaped without nail holes only because the pilgrim had forgotten his sandals. He seemed suddenly...
Trim the robes.
He seemed suddenly mindful of scorching rocks under his bare soles. He stopped and became preoccupied. Just... Demon!
just madness ensues.
Like,
Christ.
You want some bread and cheese? Fuck you!
Dude, this shit is lit. We should have done, like, that first part is, like, a small episode. This is not gonna make any fucking sense. Like, because the first part of this shit, like, I could have, like, slept to. Not in a bad way, just it was calming. It was informative. We're going over some deep stuff. Now we're talking about fighting post-apocalypse demons and tripping over our wrapped up in diaper dicks. Like,
I'm tripping over my own dick! Once they both calm down, they have a more friendly conversation where Brother Francis tells the old man how he's been hounded by wolves the last few weeks and has built a stone hut to protect himself. Showing the structure to the old man, he tells him how he's just missing the final stone for the top, but he can't find the right shape. The old man goes looking in a nearby rock pile and marks what looks to be 2 Hebrew letters into what he thinks will be the perfect stone with his walking stick. He tells Brother Francis, "May you find your voice soon, boy."
what the fuck's up with his He can just mark things in stone with his walking stick? Like, what?
Yeah, because, you just fucking drag something across a stone. It still marks it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
So he walks away towards the direction of Leibowitz Abbey, where Brother Francis is from. Now, when Brother Francis lifts the stone, he finds a cavern underneath, opening the way by removing more rocks.
How fucking big was the stone?
Well, he needs it for the top of his fucking thing.
How the fuck is he
Top of his little
If
hut.
it's big enough to fit like a fat ass hole, like how are you gonna lift that by yourself? What the fuck?
I think instead of like picking up from both ends and going, "Hurry up," I think instead he just like kind of like tilted it to the side to where its own weight was going to kind of leverage it. You know what I mean? If you had to pick up a huge slab of stone, you're not going to pick it up from both ends. You're going to kind of take it from one side and kind of pull it up. You know what I mean?
This is for well, I have destroyed my spine from poor lifting, so I don't know what you're talking about. But go on.
Yeah, you pull and twist. Just jerk it and twist it.
Just bend over, grab it, step back up real quick.
Opening the way by removing more rocks, he eventually causes a rock slide, which knocks him into the cave. I have tried so hard to imagine how that could have happened, but like
one more time.
I can't come to any conclusion for this.
That.
So he sees a cavern underneath this rock pile, and as he's starting to take some away, it causes a rock slide, which I guess. I mean, I'm sure he could tell me if he had to sit down and tell me about it, but
oh man, anything under enough pressure to like be holding back a rock slide, you're not going to be able to move by hand. That's silly.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
That's very silly. That's absurd. The holy water and all that. Look, I'm game.
Fuck you.
That's this is too much for me. I'm out.
This is unrealistic. Either way, he finds a sign in ancient English.
Was that a beer? Oh, my bad. Go on.
My comic books are resting on there. Please don't Please don't spill beer over there on that.
It's fine.
No, I have single issues next to it. I'm not talking about the ones up on the shelf. Those are first printing, motherfucker.
Oh, Jesus, I didn't even see those.
God damn it. Put them on the floor like a normal person. Here.
Right. Yeah.
God damn it. Those are the first printings.
Wait, hang on.
So, he finds a sign in ancient English from before the Flame Deluge, which is the name of the nuclear war that essentially gave the Earth and all of humanity a hard reset. The sign says, Fallout Survival Shelter, maximum occupancy, 15. Brother Francis immediately starts praying, thinking this is the end for him. A spiritu fornicationis, from the lightning and the tempest, from the scourge of the earthquake, from the plague, famine, and war, from the place of ground zero, from the reign of the cobalt, from the reign of the strontium, from the fall of the cesium, from the curse of the fallout, from the begetting of monsters, from the curse of the misborn, a morte perpetua.
I have a headache, but I'm also stoked.
I'm a little hard. What was that about fornication? You see, although the curse of the fallout is a verse in the prayer, the term fallout has lost all meaning over the centuries, as all technology has been lost. So when Brother Francis sees a sign saying fallout shelter occupancy 15, he's like, Jesus Christ, there's 15 fallouts in here. Like, what if they eat me?
Oh, shit.
But as he continues down the stairwell, Brother Francis sees a large door marked Fallout Shelter, blocked by rubble. Now knowing...
Apparently you can move, like, immense stones under pressure, so this shouldn't be...
This is no biggie.
Yeah.
Well, now knowing he's safe since all the fallouts are still trapped inside, he starts looking around all the various rooms for memorabilia. So you see, sometime after the Flame Deluge, people blamed the state of the world on technology and did what they could to destroy anything electronic and all mention of it, and basically turn the whole world Amish. They call this period the Simplification. Since then, for the last few centuries, monks have scrimped for old books and any kind of manual or whatever seems the least bit scientific and kept the world's knowledge for preservation. Memorabilia is what they call all this old knowledge. Whenever someone comes across an old factory of some sort, they're recommended to only look for memorabilia and not fuck around with the technology. Since the last time this happened, a monk came across something called, quote, an intercontinental launching pad, and fucking around with old tech blew himself up along with the whole nearby village. So, that's a rule now. Do not fuck with buttons.
Don't touch
it. We're looking for pieces of paper. So Brother Francis finds an old notebook filled with dates and a letter to someone named Carl saying he's going to catch a plane and to, quote, keep M there until we know we're at war. Signed I-E-L. He also finds a blueprint for a circuit designed, signed by Leibowitz, I-E-L. Francis freaks out, knowing he's uncovered memorabilia by none other than the blessed Leibowitz. He dreams of his newfound fame, calling himself Father Francis of Utah. Back on the surface, Brother Francis runs into a priest from the Leibowitz Abbey named Father Cherokee, who's come to release Brother They've basically, all the names are like...
Dude, I don't. I'm not. This shit is just fucking silly as fuck.
I know. Like, so he runs into Father Cherokee, who's come to release Brother Francis from his fasting. Francis tries to explain what he's found to Cherokee, even showing him the blueprints, but Francis has a history of talking fast and believing in hallucinations, as well as prone to fainting when he gets excitable. So Father Cherokee thinks he's just being fucking weird again and angrily sends Francis back to the abbey. It's not until the cavern is verified by another monk that Father Cherokee believes him. Now Father Cherokee brings Brother Francis forward before the head of the Leibowitz Abbey, Abbot Arcos. But Arcos has an issue with the story. You see, having a bunch of miracles show up right before they're supposed to make the case for Leibowitz's canonization is hella suspicious. If the committee finds out about this, they may think the stories are a bunch of bullshit made up by the monks to get Leibowitz sainthood, and they could deny it. So Arcos tries to get the real story out of Francis, mostly by beating him with a ruler and implying it was Francis that put those Hebrew letters on that rock, and that there was no old man. and that the old man couldn't have been the blessed Leibowitz. And Brother Francis says, what? Wait, I never said the old man was Leibowitz. He fucking beat me with a stick. The blessed Leibowitz would not do that.
I'm not following this at all at this point. Jesus fuck,
well,
dude. This is not, I don't think this is a story that you can just like summarize. Like this is too much too quickly.
Well, that's actually kind of how it is. So, I mean, the book itself is kind of like, you figure out things as you kind of read it in order to find out how people are surviving, how things are. But basically, that's the whole thing, is that there's an abbey out in the middle of Utah, and Brother, fucking goddamn it, what's his name? Brother Francis. Brother Francis is out in the desert fasting when the old man beats him, and he sees this like fallout shelter and everything. He basically goes and tells the story, and he's got blueprints from Leibowitz, and they're like, look, if like the New Rome is supposed to be making the case for whether or not to actually bring Leibowitz into sainthood, if they find out about this, they're going to think it's just bullshit to try and like, oh, see, now you have to canonize Leibowitz. And it's like, no, man, we got to keep this shit under wraps. And the abbot is just like, he's just like, look, this is not Leibowitz that you saw. And he's like, I never said this was Leibowitz. Like, it's just an old guy that beat the shit out of me.
I'm going to stop you right there.
All right.
So yeah, the ADD is preventing me from listening to anything you just said. My whole head just then was just one solid, just. And tell you one thing more. I have to pee.
All right.
Boom.
And we're back to no one except ourselves. So,
well, wait, why would you say that? There's no gap there. So it's literally just, I have to pee, pause, and we're back.
So, yeah, there's rumors going around that even though he's pretty much just there, there's already rumors flying around about who this old man was. And he's like, fucking Brother Francis is like, no, Abbot Arcos, listen to me. He's just an old man. So Arcos ties up the interrogation, asking if he doesn't think the old man was Leibowitz, then how does he explain his sudden disappearance? And Francis says he's not gone. He was walking towards the abbey. But Arcos tells him no one saw anyone come by. Again and again, Arcos calls up Francis for interrogation and wants him to say that the old man was just an old man. But at this point, Francis has the idea in his head and would only say, I think it was an old man. Enraged, Abbot Arcos forbids Brother Francis from giving his vows and entering full priesthood. Just a whole room full of children going to waste. No.
Brother. Goddamn.
Can we pull over at this nursery? No, we have children at home.
Stop it. Stop it.
Arcos commands all documents to be taken from the cave and locked away behind closed doors, and for the cave to be resealed. The next year, Brother Francis is once again asked if the old man was just an old man, and again he says, I think it was an old man. And once again, he's forbidden from taking his vows. But who is Leibowitz, and why do they give a shit? Well, turns out Leibowitz... Yeah, I was
meaning to ask. No, I was meaning to ask. I was like, wait, who the fuck is Leibowitz? But like, the way you were saying it, I was like, oh shit, he already went over that, and I just spaced. So I don't want to sound like a fucking jackass.
All right, so for this summary of who Leibowitz is, I want you to leave the room, and I'm only going to tell everyone else.
Wait, really? I mean, no. I'll do it.
Of course you'll fucking do it. You do it as I tell you.
I'm game, man.
No. Well, turns out Leibowitz was a military scientist, one who survived the flame deluge and saw the results of the Great Simplification.
The Great Simplification.
You see, once people...
Before time.
Once people destroyed technology, they destroyed books. And then they killed scientists. And then they killed anyone who knew how to read. This is your future. This is your future. Just finally, we are on the same plane.
Yes! Why are you talking like Skeletor? Don't worry about it!
Leibowitz would search for his wife Emily in the post-apocalyptic wastelands, but never find her, eventually hiding in a band of monks from the rioters. simpletons, as they like to be called. Leibowitz... Simpletons?
All right, I don't know, man. This guy's tone's getting kind of weird.
I feel like this is written to people I've been to college with, like just plebeians. Like, oh wait, you didn't mean that sarcastically? Like, I thought that was ironic.
I'm like, whoa,
you really said it unironically, huh?
Yeah, all right, man. Like,
Leibowitz creates a new order, one where the monks would find books and hide them, as previously discussed. They called themselves bookleggers. Eventually, Leibowitz was caught by simpletons, hanged, and burned, becoming a martyr. Now, it's been 7 years since Brother Francis found the Leibowitz memorabilia, and every year he's still asked about the old man by Abbot Arkos, and every year he still says the same thing. I think it was a man. So every year he's denied his vows.
so they never like went into the vaulty poo. Like, they never...
No, they're like, fuck it. Like, this is too much, especially for almost canonizing shit. Like, no, if we let this go, then they'll never canonize him. It has to be on his merit alone. The case for the canonization of Leibowitz has been closed and reopened time and time again over these last 7 years. A man from New Rome arrives, telling Brother Francis that quite a few people believed the documents he'd found all those years ago to be genuine, but there's been a devil's advocate assigned to come to the Leibowitz Abbey and see if that is truly the case. A few days after the messenger's arrival, Brother Francis is called in by Arkos, who buckles and allows him to finally take his vows, at which point Brother Francis faints. Now that he's a full-fledged priest, Father Francis no longer has kitchen duty, but is assigned as a copyist. See, over time...
Copyist?
Yeah. The lettering on discovered pages of memorabilia start to fade.
Oh, copyist. Is that kind of like what you do with the Wikipedia pages that you read, where you sit down and then... You explained it to me earlier, you don't just like copy paste it on to be, or you don't just print it straight directly, you read it out and then you write it down on notebook paper. So you feel like you're writing, right? That was what you explained. I'm sorry. I thought that was, I'm sorry. We weren't supposed to talk about the process here on the podcast. It was supposed to be a secret here. How you doing?
Over time, the lettering on discovered pages of memorabilia start to fade. It's up to the copyists to create an exact copy. As a side project, Francis creates an illuminated copy of the Leibowitz blueprint, like those old medieval pages of Chi-Rho Iota from the Book of Kells. Basically, like, there's this book called the Book of Kells, and it's basically just the Bible. But over time, people have created illuminated copies. So there's one page that has the first 3 letters of Christ. In Latin, it is Chi for the X, Rho for the R, and I for iota. And so it's just the first 3 letters, and they made it super fucking elaborate. This entire... What's up with your... there's some... There's a little bit of ketchup pre-cum on that.
That's
I think.
Strange, actually.
Should probably. You know what? Take a different one.
Okay,
and we'll watch that one later.
Okay, so
there's something on your beer can.
Off topic, yeah, something on the beer I just picked up. Some weird, like, gunky syrupy shit. So, buddy of mine,
yeah,
who's been working at Plaid for forever.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not in the Pacific Northwest, that's the.
That's our 7-Eleven chain.
That's a little corner store chain there. Told me, like, anytime you're seeing that, like, weird little gunky stuff on the top, it's rat piss.
Oh.
Yeah, and they, like, try to put a bunch of stuff on the top of the cans and, like, other merchandise and things like that, but, like, nothing quite catches it like the ridges on your beer can.
Huh.
So if you have, like, weird syrupy shit, it means you got some rat pissed on beers.
Well, we'll just take that directly into the trash can. It's a good thing that you looked at that. It's a good thing you're telling me this now after decades of drinking.
Well, I mean, it's not that common, but, it's common for them because they see, like, so many come and go, but it's really rare they'll pick one up.
Put it down. Don't drink from that.
Yeah, no, I actually don't even want to drink from that whole 6-pack. Can I have one of yours?
Yeah, please.
Sick, dude.
I'll drink from your 6-pack. I hear rat piss gets you high as fuck.
If you smoke it.
That's why everyone's like, why you gotta always light dumpster fires in your backyard? And it's like, because during the day, rats go in there. You fucking light it up, and then boom, you just breathe in those fumes. You're high as fuck.
All right, sorry. Let's go.
So anyways, an illuminated copy, it's just a copy of something else, but then it's a lot prettier, basically. So he's doing that of the blueprints that he found all those years ago, basically. The blueprints of Leibowitz. So 4 years go by. Leibowitz is still on trial for sainthood. A man named Monsignor Aguera comes from New Rome to Leibowitz Abbey. He interviews Francis about his meeting with the old man 11 years ago, asking him to verify if any of the rumors are true. And this is Brother Francis speaking to him. He says, "He only spoke a few words to me. I saw him just that once. He chased me with a stick, asked me the way to the abbey, and made marks on the rock where I found the crypt. Then I never saw him again." "No halo?" "No, monsieur." "No heavenly choir?" "No."
How often do you see those on anything?
Well, these are all the rumors that he's going over. "What about the carpet of roses that grew up where he walked?" No, nothing like that, monsieur." "He didn't write his name on the rock?" "As God is my judge, monsieur, he only made those 2 marks. I didn't know what they meant." So the devil's advocate, Father Francis was warned about, finally arrives, a mutant with small horns and fangs, who pretty much just puts Father Francis through the same bullshit Abbot Arcos did. He just gets pissed that Francis won't give a straight answer. "I think it was an old man." And the guy just says, "Fuck it, forget it," and leaves. More years pass, and a messenger arrives in New Rome, saying that Leibowitz is to be canonized, and they want Father Francis to be present for the ceremony. Arcos allows it, wanting Francis to deliver the Leibowitz blueprint and its illuminated copy as gifts to New Rome. So Francis sets out on what he assumes will be a 3-month journey via donkey to New Rome. About 2 months into it, he rides into the Valley of the Mistborn, where mutants are known to lurk. Of course, a gang shows up to rob Francis, led by a mutant with 2 heads.
Awesome.
Yeah. Francis tells them, "Pit boy!" No. Francis tells them they can take what they want, just not the blueprint or the illuminated manuscript. And of course the mutant is more than accommodating. He says he'll wrestle him for it. Which is how I feel any...
Dude, this writer kicks ass.
Honestly, I think that's how any legislation ought to be passed. Fucking weightlifting.
Well, there's been
Bernie
a tie,
Sanders.
so we'll get greased up and go to town.
I don't like your gerrymandering ways.
Be fucking sick as foul. Like, see, who are 2 politicians you'd like to see just greased up wrestle?
Oh, man. Well, they're all old men, so I'm okay with having... I mean, I feel like the pervier side of people would be like, "Oh, who are the youngest? Oh, I want AOC and some other younger girl to, just get all greased up and wrestle." But no, man. I want to see greased up old men just because they're getting hurt at the same time. They're moving very slow, but as soon as a knee goes to a thigh, it's over. I think Bernie Sanders would be very into the fight. He'd be like, yeah, let's go. I'll fuck you up.
What would you, that'd be great. Who would you hypothetically want to see, let's say Mitch McConnell? Who would you want to wrestle?
Against
who would you
Mitch
want him
McConnell?
to wrestle? Yeah, what would be your dream bout there?
Fuck. Is Schwarzenegger still...
No, it has to be... Oh, never
Is
mind.
he still-
He is a politician, my bad.
Is he? But is he still in anything?
Okay,
I don't know.
Schwarzenegger's
Fuck.
out, because that's not fair.
I would...
That's Jesus,
he
dude.
just fucking Bane back breaks fucking... Yeah!
That's a professional athlete that is also a politician versus a whole field of people that have never done that.
There's a dude on the GOP who looks like Solid Snake. He's got a fucking he's got one eye and everything. He's an army guy who passes really shitty legislation, but I know he's militarized and everything. I want to see him fight somebody. Not because I want him to necessarily win, but I know it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, that guy's a great big all right piece of shit, right?
Yeah. But he's still gonna Krav Maga somebody's guts into the fucking ground.
Yeah.
I still want to see it happen.
No. No. Hang on. Or Ted Cruz versus...
Fuck.
Ted Cruz. And I want him in full floppy, big ass, 30 pounds past, 30, 40 pounds past dad bod in the outfit.
Dude, I want...
Versus fucking... Oh, fuck it, versus, Mitch McConnell. Why not?
You know what? You know who's prime dad bod? Full-on stepfather will get drunk and hit you type body?
Whoa.
Mitt Romney. He's got the chub. He's shown up drunk in Taco Bell's drive-thrus before.
I bet you Mitt Romney could throw down.
I bet he fucking could. I bet Mitt
Romney
Romney
beats his wife.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what's really sad is we only know.
Like, yeah, he's demonstrated that he's violent.
We only know the right-wing politicians because they show up on news for retarded fucking things. Who's your,
I don't know.
Who's your local senator? Fuck, I don't know. They haven't done anything horrible.
I don't know. All I know is I know he's not like. Is Ben Shapiro a politician?
No, he's just a little pussy that walks around campuses. I've thought about it.
I still want to challenge Ben Shapiro formally to a duel.
Well, you know, I was
to a
thinking about
mixed
this.
martial arts match.
He seems like the kind of guy who would pretend like he knows what he's talking about. Well, I mean, that's his career. But he'd be like, you know, hypothetically, now, I am a black belt in karate. Now, for the sake of argument, let's say that I also know jujitsu. Now, hypothetically, if I'm going to fuck your wife, now,
damn,
you know,
brother. No, you spent some time on this. Go on.
Now, hypothetically, let's say your mother is fat. Now, let's, for the sake of argument, say that she's so fat.
Jesus, no, dude.
I was thinking about this, dude. All the like right-wing YouTubers are always really into bodybuilding because they think that's the furthest thing from being a woman that they can be. They are.
Like who?
They're fucking.
Are they not aware women can also bodybuild?
Well, that's their thing. Is basically like women shouldn't be doing it. Women ought to be doing what I tell them to do. Like,
right.
You know,
weird.
Yeah. So like. Like I'm almost certain Steven Crowder's just a fucking alcoholic, but at the same time I'm almost certain that he might be able to bodybuild past what I do.
Dude, like... okay, yeah, fuck Steven Crowder though. Like,
oh, I know. They're all pieces of shit. Like they always say, I'm showing you talking points, and it's like, no, they're not talking points. You're just blatantly running past any information.
They're pandering to their audience of dumbasses so they cannot do any real work and just get exposure from making a spectacle and get ad revenue. That's it. That's all they're fucking doing.
I know. They're just making money off of people that are just like, he's saying how everyone thinks. Like, you doing
let's
okay?
say hypothetically that I wanted to fuck my male friend in his fat gay bottom. But in order to not be gay, I put a fleshlight in his asshole first. Then I put my penis into the fleshlight so there would be no contact in between my penis and the flesh of his anal canal. I'm still able to grab his hips and thrust as hard as I can into him while he gets pleasure.
Now let's just say, for the sake of argument, that my sister has big mommy milkers. Now let's also say...
Oh, fuck.
And canceled. Okay, so...
Fuck.
So...
Sorry.
Brother Francis, or should I say...
If there's no contact in between my penis and his actual ass, is that gay?
I'm going to say, for the sake of argument, and this is me talking right now... that you're grabbing his hips in a very sexual manner for the express pleasure of your own penis. Sir, that is gay.
I can't. Oh, fuck.
Okay, so...
Damn it.
Father Francis is in the Valley of the Mistborn. He's getting mugged, and the leader is there with his two heads, and he says, please, you can take whatever you want, just don't take the illuminated manuscript or the original copy. He says, I'll wrestle you for it.
Back to this. Fuck, thank you for the summary.
And Father Francis says, done. Impulsively, thinking that a contest would at least afford heaven a chance to intervene in an unobtrusive way. He's like, O God, thou who strengthened Jacob so that he overcame the angel on the rock. They squared off. Brother Francis crossed himself. The robber took his knife from his belt thong and tossed it after the papers. They circled. 3 seconds later, the monk lay groaning on the flat of his back under a short mountain of muscle. A sharp rock seemed to be severing his spine. Try as his 90-pound body might, Francis loses. As punishment,
Yeah.
the mutant keeps the prettier copy, thinking it's the original. Because why would something holy be ugly like the regular-ass blueprint, you know? And he tosses the blueprint to Francis, saying he's holding the illuminated copy for ransom. Now, when Francis gets to New Rome, he takes audience with the Pope, telling him his story. He announced that he spent 15 years on that illuminated copy, but hey, at least he got the blueprints there in one piece. The Pope thanks Father Francis for his faith and sends Francis on his way home with the exact amount the mutant asked for, basically saying, "You spent all that time on it, just go get it." Upon arriving to the same spot he was robbed in the Valley of the Mistborn, Francis sees a figure in the distance. While being distracted by it, mutants sneak up behind Francis and shoot him in the head with an arrow.
Oh.
They rob his corpse and walk away. Later, the figure Francis was watching comes to his dead body. It's the old man from the beginning of the story. He buries Francis and carries on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're going to leave off, in the middle of A Canticle for Leibowitz currently. Now, this story, as mentioned before, is essentially 3 short stories in the same universe that Walter Miller wrote over the course of a few years. And basically, this is the novelization of that. And so this seems like a good enough place to kind of lead off to next time. My sources today are A Canticle for Leibowitz by Walter M. Miller Jr., Bantam Books, Inc., 9th printing, February 1982, and Wikipedia. Also, please, you can go on to the, please, God, fuck, please,
whoa, dude.
Fuck! Please.
Dude,
you can
okay,
go on
when
to...
you put your hands like that, it zeroed the whole fuck into it. Like,
it was supposed to cover my mouth.
Like, it didn't. You didn't cover your mouth. You just made
made
the
it louder.
mega... Get that the... It hurt me. I don't even know how that's going to sound after we post that. Like...
You can go on to the Caleb Can't Read Sources page on Facebook.
We have that?
Yeah, we got a
Sick,
sources page. You can also post whatever the fuck you want on there. I don't give a shit. I'll probably take it down and ban you. But anyways, you can also follow us on Twitter.
Look at you, drunk with power, before anyone even looks at it once.
I can tell somebody's clicked at the picture once, yeah. Also go on to calebcan'tread.com. It's got art on there by my wife.
By the waifu?
By the waifu. Are you saying that because she's Asian, or are you trying to be funny? Is that...
I call my girlfriend the waifu.
Oh, all right. Hey,
yeah,
I mean...
No, it's let's end it. Fuck.
Nope. Anyway. No, I just wanted to go into a little racist spiel there for you about
don't
you.
Stop.
Oh, I mean, I just think what you're saying is very insulting, but that's neither here nor there.
God damn it. Jordan, why would you get awkward? Like, I have said that several times, and it's like, fuck, that's at the absolute end.
I like awkward shit. What can I say?
8 minutes.
I specifically go onto Reddit only to look at the really cringy subreddits. I like that kind of shit.
You're a freak.
Yeah, I'm really into it. What can I say? So anyways, yeah, no, this was, I'm sure that we'll end up talking about it later, but like I said, this was like, yeah, this was the beginning of like any kind of Mad Max style sci-fi sort of thing, you know? This was essentially it. This was the first time that somebody, had the guts to say, I think the future is going to be pretty shitty. Sure, he had to get PTSD to get that way and watch himself and a bunch of people, not just make a big mistake and kill hundreds of people, but then afterwards realize that they're people and then just start going hunting anyway.
I mean, was he the first guy that was like writing shit like that?
Yeah.
I mean, or at least,
I mean, at least of what was popularized. Yeah. But he's the one that essentially like broke that into a whole new genre. He's the one that like took dystopia there to the Mad Max Fallout type thing. Like that's where it went. Or Tank Girl.
I was just about to say that's where you wore your very nice ordered from I don't know where Tank Girl shirt that you were excited to.
It was from the website
to show me. No, I bet you got it from Hot Topic.
Oh, please, they're not.
Okay, my bad. Target.
That seems within their realm.
Wait, really?
I would see Target.
I would be
as
very
getting
bummed
Tank
out
Girl.
if there was a Tank Girl shirt in Target. But at the same time, I've never seen a Tank Girl shirt, so
I got it from the Tank Girl website.
good.
Which, by the way, if you ever want to support Tank Girl, Alan Martin, the original writer, he'll just sign whatever the fuck you order from there and send it to you. Like, if you buy a poster, he'll sign it. Like, he signs everything. It's great. I got a children's book of Tank Girl that he seemed to be publishing. I was like, all right, cool. I ordered it. Hey, it's signed. Why not? All
right.
Tank Girl.
All right, are we out? What you got?
Diabetes? No.
You about to have diabetes.
About to. So yeah, we'll carry on with the rest of Canticle for Leibowitz, and I rushed to finish the sequel that was written. We'll get into it, but basically I rushed to finish it last night and then type up paragraphs, and I realized that we had almost 20 pages on this guy, and I thought it was only like 11. I was like, oh yeah, it's a 1 episode thing. I'll just write up a few more paragraphs and it's done. And then I look at it and the count is like 20 pages. And I'm like, fuck.
You're like,
It didn't matter.
No.
I had another week to read it basically, but whatever. Anyways, yeah. You got anything to say?
No.
Yeah, good.
Really,
I like it when you don't say anything at all. Just shut up, girl. Shut your lips. Do the Helen Keller and talk with your hips.